going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. It is episode 310, part number 1 for your Friday, January 24, 2020. Little Birdie told me that this Sunday is a major pay-per-view. Major pay-per-view. I don't know what else to say, man. I don't know what else to say in regards to this major pay-per-view. Oh, it's the Royal Rumble. Excuse me for not being excited. I'm sorry. I can't find myself excited about the Royal Rumble. I don't know what it is, man. Maybe I'm getting too old. Maybe I'm just getting too old. Old and grumpy. As I turn 38 years old in a week and a half. Listen, let me tell you something. I don't know how you guys feel about the Royal Rumble, but it's my favorite pay-per-view of the entire year. No matter what they do, I feel like a little child watching the Royal Rumble, that buzzer going off. But I don't really have any faith in WWE to do anything right. Like, why would I fully invest myself in this Royal Rumble on Sunday when I know that we all will collectively sit around and find something to bitch and complain about? We will all collectively sit around as a community and then feel one overwhelming emotion at the end of that 5 hours. Disappointment. Disappointment. There might be some excitement along the way. There might be some danger along the way. It's like a fucking journey. It's like you going into the Lost Woods, hunting for the Master Sword. You don't know what's coming up next. You might find danger. You might find some solace in the sounds of a harmonious tune. Right? You might fall into a trap. You might have to wiggle your way out of a puzzle somehow. But in the end, unlike Link, he's excited about the Master Sword because that's the only way he could save Princess Zelda and defeat Ganon. But here, we don't have any Master Sword. That little piece of wood in the Lost Woods, that little block that holds the Master Sword, it's empty. So when you go and traverse all the Lost Woods and you get to the end, there's nothing there. Zelda's off fucking Ganon somewhere, and Link is, got nothing but a bottle of lube in his little treehouse over in Hyrule. I don't know how I came up with that analogy. I am just fucking completely blitzed right now. I don't know how I came up with that analogy, man. But my point is, the Royal Rumble is nothing but disappointment. And I'm looking at my notes. For this podcast. And I'm like, where's the Royal Rumble news? Now, I take this to be a good thing because the less I know, the more I will probably get excited. Also, the less I know, the more I get worried because I don't trust these people. But I'm looking at the notes and I'm looking at how I organized everything. And I'm like, where's the Royal Rumble news? And there is none. Not today. Not today. Whatever I'm doing as far as Royal Rumble is being saved for tomorrow. I mean, one, because I want to wait to see if there's any more news and rumors coming out. And two, everybody in the community's got their Royal Rumble previews and predictions up. And it's like, Jesus Christ, man. I don't care. I don't care what fucking Wrestle Geek has to say, or I don't care what fucking some schmuck with 6 subscribers has to say. I don't really care. Oh, I'm going with Shayna Baszler. Great. So are you and 8,000 other fucking people going with Shayna Baszler. Give me something new and fresh. Can't do it. And I'm looking at the news, and it's like, I got this story, I got that story, and I got that other story that, to me, is more exciting about the Royal Rumble. It's actually a lot more controversial than the Royal Rumble, too. And some of these stories don't really paint WWE in a good light. Now, one of them don't paint Seth Rollins in a good light, but, I mean, this guy is a master of his art. You know, he is the clown prince. He graduated valedictorian from Clown U. Rollins says that the audience of WWE is looking to pick apart everything. They're looking for a reason to complain. Oh, man, I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about what he said here. What a fucking clown. You have to be kidding me. That's exactly what he said. Then we got this other story about Vince McMahon and good old Pat Patterson. Remember back in the day when Pat Patterson used to book the Royal Rumble and it used to be exciting? No longer. No longer. So now he's showing up at Rocky Johnson's wedding, apparently drunk or blitzed out of his mind. So is Vince McMahon, and they're making a mockery of the man's funeral. The man's private funeral in front of his closest friends and family. And then there's this other story, which I might not even get to today because I might not have enough energy to give you my full thoughts and opinions on it. So we'll probably save it for tomorrow. Becky Lynch has some comments on WWE Backstage about how WWE needs to eliminate the word women's from everything they do regarding the women because she wants gender equality. Then she actually posted something on her social media kind of backtracking, but she is absolutely to blame about what WWE went and did. Or maybe she wasn't. Maybe it was already in the plans for WWE to change the name of the NXT Women's Championship to now simply the NXT Championship. And Becky was just thrown out there on Fox to kind of be a sheep in the entire thing. They can't hate on Becky. Let's have somebody who everybody loves and adores go out there and utter this sheer ridiculousness in front of the live audience. It's exactly what they did. I'm not even going to get to that story. We talked about that on the NXT review just briefly, but I got so much news in regards to Rollins and Vince McMahon, Pat Patterson, and then everything literally from Raw, SmackDown, NXT, WWE Backstage, and everything in your pro wrestling week that's not the Royal Rumble right here on Off the Script, man. Thank you guys so very much for joining me. This is episode 310, part number 1 for your January 24th, 2020. I am the YWC Messiah. I am JD. Thank you guys so very much for joining me. How long before I stop calling myself that because it's not cool anymore? I give it another week before Rollins kills all of the mystique and all the coolness from that new code name or nickname that he's got on Monday Night Raw. Anyway, regardless of that, thank you guys so much for joining me. Like I said, we got a lot to go over today. It's been a very rough week here, man. Really, really rough week. I don't know what the fuck's going on in the air or in the atmosphere or just in my area, but I've had internet problems all week. I think I am still having internet problems. I'm not really sure. It just constantly goes in and out, in and out, in and out. I call, I do this, I do that. Nothing works. It's the worst fucking service of all time. Internet's out. My PlayStation just completely died live on stream. I was actually wanting to play some Call of Duty. Booted up Black Ops 4. I streamed on YouTube. Within 45 minutes, the stream was down, and my PlayStation's hard drive failed. So now that's costing me another $189 to fix the fucking PlayStation. And I need my PlayStation, and everybody's telling me, why are you spending money? Just go buy a new one. Why do I have to spend $500 fucking dollars on a new PlayStation Pro or PS4 Pro and then buy the new system? I'd rather just spend the $189 to get this fixed and then worry about the new PlayStation 5 coming out at the end of the year. I think I'm making a wise decision here. Plus, I'm getting a better hard drive than the new PlayStation anyway, so it probably ends up working itself out. But that failed live on stream. I felt embarrassed about that, so I apologize to everybody who wanted to see me rage at Call of Duty. That wasn't happening. And then I watch Wednesdays. I watch Dynamite. I do the review. I go and make myself a nice little snack. And then I sit on the couch and I watch NXT because NXT is being DVR'd while Dynamite's on. And I'm watching, and I get to the Shayna Baszler match with Shotzi Blackheart, and my DVR just dies. Gives me error messages. I cannot perform this function. Please try again later. Motherfucker, I just recorded this show. What are you talking about? Literally every piece of technology that I had this week just completely shit the bed. I don't know what it is, man. It must be one of those weeks where the moon is, in some sort of phase, and it's just affecting me and technology and anything I have to do with technology. But it's been a bad week, so hopefully nothing bad happens here where, my soundboard goes out, my microphone goes out, my fucking PC goes out. Who the fuck knows, man? So we're in for a treat here on Off the Script. It'll literally be off the script today if that happens. But we're going to try our best to get through this thing. Make sure you guys follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you guys check out all the other videos that you might have missed this week, man. Raw. We got AEW. NXT. I actually went live. Yes, live. I was live on YouTube for the NXT review. It went swimmingly. It went really great. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. And now I'm a little bit more open to doing some more live stuff. But I do want to incorporate like phone calls and maybe a guest or two with some of the live reviews. So I'm working on all that. It's going to be a slow working process. But normally I'm the type of guy that likes to be in control of everything. Record, stop, edit. Do that type of thing. Make it look really good and make it sound really good. So it's something that I have to warm up to. But I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. We did a killing with the Super Chat, so I want to thank everybody that Super Chatted on Wednesday for the NXT, or Thursday afternoon for the NXT review, and I will definitely be more open to doing that. So, again, thank you guys so very much if you missed that. And my SmackDown review is coming tonight, so make sure you guys tune into that later on. Everything you missed this week already down in the description below of this very video. And if you're new around here, man, please hit that subscribe button. Turn on that bell for all notifications. This is the #1 pro wrestling podcast in the YWC, and that is Off the Script. Let's get into it, man. Got a lot to go over here today. Let's start with the SmackDown ratings from last Friday's show. The overnight ratings were in immediately for SmackDown Saturday morning from Greensboro, North Carolina. The episode drew an average of 2.580 million viewers, which is up from last Friday's SmackDown episode. That did an average of 2.502 million viewers. I mean, this is WWE style. Listen, I laugh when they have sinking to low, to bottom of the barrel ratings where they get lower and lower every single week. And that's the only way I feel that they will make the show better. And the shows are not getting better. They're actually, SmackDown's getting worse. And wait till you find out what the main event is for tonight's show. Man, oh man, I can't wait to fall asleep during this one. The show seems to be getting worse, but, I am a person who knows better. These casuals and these cretins don't know any better, man. These people operating on one brain cell don't know any better. They'll watch blindly because they're programmed to watch. You know better. People watching me know better that SmackDown has absolutely gone down significantly in quality. But they're still averaging 2.5, 2.6. And this is their prime real estate time. This is Royal Rumble time. We're going into the Royal Rumble. And it's going to get better. It's probably going to increase over the next couple of weeks. Going on into February, into March, is going to increase because this is the time where WWE has all eyes on them. It's WrestleMania. If they don't, then I'd be concerned. But this is only going to grow and the ratings are going to rise going on into WrestleMania season. So the first hour drew 2.616 million viewers. Hour 2 dropped to 2.544 million viewers. It also pulled in an average of 0.8 ratings in the 18 to 49 demographic, which was #1 for the night. That is up from the 0.75 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic that the show did last week. SmackDown was #8 for the night among networks in viewership, down from last week's #1 ranking. It was behind American Housewife, 2020, Hawaii 5-0, Ship Me to Hawaii, Magnum P.I., Blue Bloods, The Blacklist, and Dateline NBC, among the top shows on network television. So there you go. SmackDown is just awful. There's no life, there's no soul, there's no excitement coming out of SmackDown, man. It's all just there. It just exists, It's like just a blob. This fucking lifeless blob. And it doesn't morph into anything. It just sits there, That's exactly how I think of SmackDown. There's nothing exciting. How could you get excited about this? Listen to this fucking main event for tonight's show. I don't know when you're watching this, But you'll come to realize that this is garbage anyway. Whether you watch this show on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you'll look back and say, oh my God, thank God I didn't watch fucking SmackDown. A 6-man tag team match will be the main event on the go-home show for SmackDown heading into the Royal Rumble. WWE has announced Roman Reigns and the Usos. I'll give you one guess who they're going up against. Who is it? The Undisputed Era? Who is it? Heavy Machinery and Mandy Rose in a intergender 6-man tag? Who's it going to be? New Day? Has Xavier Woods made a miraculous recovery? Who is it? No, it's Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, and Bobby Roode in the main event against Reigns and the Usos. I don't know, man. I feel like I should right now actually rush to my kitchen and go underneath the kitchen sink and find some sort of chemical with that little skull and crossbones logo on the fucking bottle. Maybe I should mix that into a nice glass over ice and enjoy a nice cold beverage. That is awful. I don't know. It looks like tonight I will not be watching the main event. Looks like I'll be recording a SmackDown review at 9:40 sharp. Don't be surprised if you see the upload tonight a little earlier than usual. That is awful. Usos returned to WWE TV 3 weeks ago to help Roman Reigns, and they're already in a stale storyline with no direction. Great job there, WWE. After all the news and rumors coming out that Vince wanted the writing team to devise plans on bringing the Usos back to WWE television, this was their master rollout plan. Awful. Absolutely awful. Reigns and Corbin, they will both be in the Royal Rumble. On top of that, they got a Falls Count Anywhere match at the Royal Rumble. So it's going to be the Reigns and Corbin weekend, folks. Get used to it. Get used to it. We'll talk about Reigns and Corbin and the Rumble tomorrow. I could absolutely see, here's a little spoiler for you. I could absolutely see Roman Reigns losing to Baron Corbin in the Falls Count Anywhere match. And I could see Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble because that's how Vince McMahon operates. We'll give Corbin the Falls Count Anywhere match, but, I'll get the ha, the last laugh of everybody when my man, Roman Reigns, wins the Royal Rumble when he challenges Bray Wyatt, and then everybody can complain that Roman Reigns is going to take down The Fiend. I can't wait. He's probably relishing in the fact that everybody's going to be fucking ranting and complaining about Roman Reigns taking down The Fiend. He's going to find joy in this shit, man. It's going to give him a fucking hard-on. Watch. I do feel like that's the direction WWE will go in. So that is SmackDown, and that is the main event for tonight's show. Oh, joy, oh, joy. Randy Orton. Randy Orton is being Randy Orton on social media. This was funny. I had to throw this in there. Even though Randy Orton is on Monday Night Raw, he actually was tweeted at by the WWE on Fox Instagram account. Now, Randy Orton tells WWE on Fox on Instagram to simply, and I quote, fuck off. It's exactly what he said, fuck off. So Randy Orton is Randy Orton. You guys know how he is on social media. He will do anything to, troll you. He will do and say anything he wants because what are you realistically going to do to Randy Orton? Nothing. Now, while he certainly teased a move to AEW in 2019, which was never going to happen, if you believe that, you are a fucking sucker. It's the best way for me to put it. He wasn't going anywhere. He never considered going anywhere. He could be friends with those guys. He could boast about Sammy Guevara and Cody Rhodes and wanting a match with CM Punk and AEW. He very well might think that way. But he's never going to leave WWE. Look at the schedule he's got. What does he work? 40 fucking dates? 50 dates a year? Guy's got a fucking king-like schedule, making how much money? He made over $3 million in his last contract per year. Imagine what they're paying him now. So, Randy Orton does what he wants and says what he wants on social media. Now that he's on Raw, he has no interest in interacting with anything associated with Fox or SmackDown, and he posted a very wholesome picture or video of his daughter on Instagram. And the WWE on Fox's Instagram account thought that they would take the time to reply because they're all over the WWE product. They got to have their claws in the WWE product everywhere on social media. So this wholesome picture did not get a wholesome response. So Randy Orton says about the video, being live on a TV show for 20 years weekly is cool and all that, but this takes the cake. Can't compare, not even close. It's his daughter, of course. Of course. So WWE on Fox Instagrams him a comment on the video, and they say, so wholesome, with a little emoji with the hearts fluttering about. Randy Orton replies, at WWE on Fox, I'm on Raw, appreciate it, but fuck off. Oh, and cheers. Hashtag Reigns. I don't know what that means, but there you go. What does WWE think of this? Nothing. It's Randy Orton. What are they going to do? He can do and say what he wants. What does Fox think about this? What a fucking cocksucker. It's the last time we tweet you and your fucking family, you fucking bitch. Anyway, don't tweet Randy Orton. Don't tweet him. And now you learned your lesson. Whoever's in charge of the WWE on Fox, Instagram, and Twitter accounts, don't tweet stupidity. And then you won't get blasted for it by everybody to point and make fun of you. Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt tonight have a contract signing on SmackDown, along with that god-awful main event. It's been announced that Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt will meet on SmackDown for a contract signing. They will face each other for the WWE Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble on Sunday in the dreaded strap match. Bray Wyatt will undoubtedly appear as the human version of himself in this segment. Now, I don't expect The Fiend to show up here. And if WWE is smart, you know, I can already envision what WWE is going to do. They'll probably have the table set out in the middle of the ring. They'll probably have Michael Cole moderating it. Daniel Bryan comes out. Bray Wyatt comes out. They got a little back and forth. We'll probably get the lights going out. And something that flashes the Fiend's picture on the Titantron. And then Wyatt disappears. Or something along those lines. Instead of having fun with it. Now, the way I do it is I'd have Wyatt say, I'm not coming to fucking sign a contract for this Universal Championship match. If Bryan wants this match, right, he already gave me the yes. He wants to meet me and The Fiend or whoever at the Royal Rumble in a strap match. He laid down the rule. He wants Wyatt in a strap match. He's already laid down his rules. Now he's got to come, if he wants this match, come to the fucking Funhouse and sign this contract. You know, build or expand on the Funhouse. Put the contract signing table in the Funhouse. Have the puppets there, you know, just hanging about. Maybe have them interject. And, you know, what happened to that Rambling Rabbit segment where he was wanting to give Bryan an inside scoop on how to beat The Fiend, the secrets to beating The Fiend? What happened to that? You know, I know he's dead or he got decapitated again, but, you know, I'd love to have that continue on SmackDown. I'd have the Funhouse be the home of the contract signing. Michael Cole's in the Funhouse. Daniel Bryan's in the Funhouse. They're both sitting there side by side. The Universal title there in the center with Michael Cole and in between them. Make it different. Make it different. I don't know if you guys remember when Nakamura and Styles were battling over the WWE Championship, how they had a contract signing. I forgot for what pay-per-view it was. Might have been WrestleMania. I don't really go back and think about that because that feud was very underwhelming. But I remember where Nakamura and Styles were in the back and they just had a different vibe for that contract signing. I love how WWE just went outside the box and went away from the normal for that contract signing. I love that type of shit. So if they could do something different here with this, instead of making it the usual, you know, in the ring, in front of the live audience, blah, 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 do something different with it. Make it creative. Now, I know I'm saying a lot and expecting this to happen, but I know it's not going to happen, but I don't want to get anybody's hopes up, but that's what I would do. I would take this and be creative with it, but they are having a contract signing on SmackDown for the Universal Championship, and their strap match is happening on Sunday at the Royal Rumble. Speaking of Daniel Bryan said he didn't want to shave his head for The Fiend and this feud. Now, I was shocked when I heard that because I thought this was Daniel Bryan's idea. I legitimately thought going into this and then seeing him with his shaved head and kind of resembling his American Dragon days, that this was all his idea. that this was an idea proposed from Bryan to Wyatt, and they're kind of molding this storyline in their image. It is kind of silly, right? Strap match idea is kind of silly. I want to put a strap on The Fiend because he keeps going into the fucking hole in the middle of the ring. You know, in retrospect, you think about it, thinking back at what we've seen, it is kind of fucking silly. It's childish, you know? But when I read this, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. I was also one of those people that were thinking, I guarantee you Brie Bella hated the long beard. I guarantee you she hated the long hair. She wanted her old Daniel Bryan back. I was completely wrong. He was speaking with mysanantonio.com, and Bryan revealed that while he pitched the idea of having his beard shaved by The Fiend, he was not keen on cutting all of his hair off. Now, during the interview, he explained why he thought it was a good idea for him to return to TV without a beard, but initially rejected the idea of shaving his head. Actually, it was my idea, and my idea was not the hair. It was just the beard. I had kind of pitched this to the team as the idea of, okay, how do we extend this story with Bray Wyatt, which is what they wanted to do, because he's already defeated me cleanly, right? How do we do that? One of the things to me was that he's changed people's characters so much when he's faced them. And by him ripping out or cutting my beard, it would be this idea that he's stripping me of part of my identity. That was kind of my pitch to them. What actually happened, they said, yeah, well, then he can cut your hair too. And I was like, no, I don't really want to do that. I want my hair to be cut, or I don't want my hair to be cut. I kind of wanted my hair to be longer. Just wrestling-wise, I like that. So do I. And that was one of the things that I had actually stated when he was dragged into the ring on that initial first night. And we seen Bray Wyatt pulling the hair out of the ring. I'm like, I don't want to see him bald. I don't want to see him shaved head. I don't want to see him with a beard. I was like, take that and trim it. Take his hair, trim it. Don't cut it all the way. Take his beard, trim the beard, but still have the beard. When we seen him, he had none of those things. He was completely like 2010 Daniel Bryan. So Bryan went on to explain how his beard was shaved during the SmackDown episode where The Fiend was doing all this, and why he had to return to TV with a shaved head. But then, the day of, we're like, okay, well, he'll rip some of my hair out. You'd have to understand the mechanisms that are going on while this is happening. We're in a live TV show, right? So they pulled me underneath the ring. They've got two barbers there who are in charge of, like, getting my beard off and getting my hair off, so there can be this appearance of him ripping my hair out and all this kinds of stuff. And we have a minute and a half of TV time left on the live show. And there's also a producer down there who's saying, we need more hair, we need more hair, we need more hair. And it's completely dark under there. We were also crammed in this little area because there's also real stuff under the ring that needs to be under the ring. It's just all in this crammed little area, and these guys are cutting my hair and cutting my beard really quick, and they're supposed to just cut X amount of hair off, which wasn't as much as they ended up doing, but the one guy on one side did a great job. They actually both did a great job considering the circumstances, but one guy just went a little too tight and a little too high. And then after the show, they did their best. They tried after the show for like 45 minutes to make it like not just a shaved head, but that was the best we could do under the circumstances. That's pretty crazy, man. You know, doing all of that right then and there. His hair was actually physically being cut right there. You know, it could have been staged. They could have had prop hair that he was pulling out from underneath the ring. It was physically his fucking hair. They were shaving his head, and he was legitimately pulling real hair from Bryan's head out from underneath the ring. That's pretty fucking crazy to think about, given the circumstances of rush. You're on live TV. Bryan also noted that his wife wasn't too pleased when she heard that he cut all of his hair off. And it's really funny, he says. It's really funny because as different as it is for my character, I knew I was in trouble because my wife hates shaved heads. She's never liked them. And I texted her immediately after. I said, you're not going to like this. And her response was, what did you do? And I know I'm in trouble because she knows that this idea of the beard thing was my idea. So my idea has led me to this. And I tried to take a couple of pictures before I FaceTimed her, but none of them were good. And I was just like, okay, I better just FaceTime her. And then, you know those conversations that you have with your significant other where it's like they get really quiet and you could just see the anger? This was one of those kinds of things. But luckily, that happened the day after Thanksgiving, and then I flew home that Saturday, and we had a bunch of family and stuff there, so she couldn't be too outwardly mad. Then after a day or two, it blows over. She just gets used to it, and that's sort of how it all went down. End quote. So I think that's hilarious, man. That's really funny. And you know what? After this Fiend thing is over, Bryan's going to go right back to growing it out anyway. You know, he doesn't look that bad at all. He does not look bad at all. I do wish that they just trimmed it and trimmed his hair. Still has his hair. Trimmed the beard, still has his beard, but it's not going to take away from how I look at and appreciate Daniel Bryan. It looks great. You know, I've enjoyed the storyline for the most part, outside of all the silliness. But to be honest with you, the way Bryan is getting the reactions he's gotten with The Fiend and in this storyline, in a perfect world, I'd have him beat The Fiend. I really would. You know, Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt, you want to think about who Bray Wyatt's greatest rival is. Bray Wyatt. I would actually say it's Daniel Bryan. I would say Daniel Bryan is Bray Wyatt's number one greatest challenge. You know, everybody has one, right? Austin had The Rock. Cena has Punk. Bryan has Wyatt. Or Wyatt has Bryan. That's that. That's it for me. You know, some of you might argue, oh, the Shield or, you know, some variation of the Shield, whether it's Reigns or Rollins. I don't think so. Now, if the Wyatt family was in this discussion with Harper or Rowan and Wyatt, then you can make a case for the Shield. But I do think that Wyatt and his greatest challenge, his best opponent, his best match is Daniel Bryan. So I would have that happen. Now, whether we get Reigns versus Wyatt at WrestleMania or Reigns, Wyatt, and Bryan at WrestleMania, I don't know. But where does Bryan go after he inevitably loses to The Fiend again? What happens then? What is Bryan going to do at WrestleMania? I can't come up with anything for Daniel Bryan on SmackDown. It might end up being a triple threat match. We don't know. We don't know. So that is the dilemma that I see WWE in now. Bryan is too valuable and too good to keep off WrestleMania's card, and who do you book him against at WrestleMania if he doesn't conquer The Fiend, which we all know he won't? I don't know. He could be used in that situation for WrestleMania in a triple threat capacity. You know, that actually might serve to be a little bit more of an easy thought for us. Because if it's Reigns and Wyatt, it's going to be Reigns. If it's Reigns, Wyatt, and Bryan, Wyatt might escape WrestleMania with the title. And they won't bury Roman or have Roman pinned in a triple threat match. Wyatt will pin Bryan again. And then they can move on to Reigns and Wyatt. Wyatt could get his title reign extended, and Reigns could take the title away from him at Money in the Bank or wherever they plan to do it, you know. But we'll see what happens. I don't want to see Reigns in another fucking WrestleMania main event. What is that, like 9 now? Give me a break. Let's move on to somebody else. You failed 5 fucking times before. What makes you think this 6th time is going to do any more? So I found that to be quite hilarious with Daniel Bryan there. I wanted to throw that into the SmackDown portion of the news. Sheamus, he's on SmackDown. Sheamus and Cesaro The Bar. Great tag team. Sheamus is back. He's got Chad Gable at the Royal Rumble. More than likely on the pre-show if there is one. I'm sure there is one, so WWE is going to have some pre-show matches. I'm sure there's going to be a pre-show match. Cesaro's with Sami Zayn and Nakamura right now. He is kind of floating around doing a lot of nothing. He's too good to be doing a lot of nothing. So I wish WWE would come up with something more substantial for Cesaro. But Sheamus and Cesaro were The Bar. That team is obviously no more. They're on to different things right now. Cesaro, like I mentioned, is with Nakamura and Zayn. Sheamus is back in the WWE. Sheamus spoke to Cultaholic. Sheamus revealed why WWE decided to split him and Cesaro up. They've already achieved so much and cemented their legacies as a team. It was just time for them to seek out their fortunes in the singles ranks once again. I don't know who came up with that, but clearly it's not going to work. He says, and I quote, well, me and Cesaro have achieved everything there is to do. We're 5-time tag team champions. I think The Bar is something we have cemented our legacies with as a team. Like, we can always go back and do that anytime we want, and it'll be massive. But we're both on a bit of a singles journey at the moment, and there's still a lot I want to achieve as a singles guy. Obviously, the Intercontinental title is one of them. I still haven't won that title, so that's all I really care about right now. And I actually pitched this when I gave you my WrestleMania card. When I came up with a WrestleMania card, I actually had, and it's not happening at the Royal Rumble, which I expected it would, and it will eventually happen somewhere, but Nakamura and Strowman are in the Royal Rumble. Now, Nakamura lost to Braun Strowman in a one-on-one match, so that kind of guarantees that Braun Strowman's going to get a title shot eventually. They aren't doing it now because, it's kind of rushed. And there is no story there, and I doubt WWE is going to give us a story to get me invested in what those two guys are doing. Strowman wins the title, and I think Strowman wins the title maybe in Saudi Arabia, maybe in March. And I don't see Strowman being that type of guy to hold the Intercontinental Championship. That title is everything that Braun Strowman isn't. It's the working man's championship. It's the wrestling championship. Braun Strowman epitomizes none of that. Now, I honestly think he's in this because they don't really have anything else for him to do. But if he beats Nakamura isn't doing anything with that title. If he beats Nakamura, I pitched this in my fantasy WrestleMania card. Strowman beats Nakamura, and he goes on to battle Sheamus at WrestleMania for the IC title. And Sheamus beats him for the IC title at WrestleMania. I think that would be a hard-hitting match. Sheamus is a tough motherfucker. You know how he could be brutal and go that Trunk-style route. Strowman is a big guy. He ain't afraid to throw down when he's got to throw down either. I think that would be a decent match. And seeing Sheamus beat Braun Strowman with that bro kick to win the Intercontinental title, I think that would be a nice little moment there at WrestleMania. Let me know what you guys think about that. But Cesaro, we're always going to go back to Cesaro. Cesaro is such a good wrestler, man. He is so great, and they've done nothing with him. I really hope that who knows? Who knows? Sheamus wins the IC title, and maybe Cesaro breaks away from Nakamura and Zayn because he feels like they're holding him back. And maybe Cesaro goes on his own and we get Sheamus and Cesaro battling it out for the IC title. I'd take that. Sheamus beating Strowman and then losing it to Cesaro. I could see that happening very much sometime in the year. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. Jeff Hardy's on SmackDown. He's going to miss WrestleMania. I kind of expected that, so that's not a surprise. Jeff Hardy has a court date in Moore County Court in North Carolina, and that is April 6th, according to PW Insider and Mike Johnson. That happens to be on the day after WrestleMania. This would likely mean that Jeff will not be appearing at WrestleMania or in any WWE shows until his legal issues are resolved. It also means that more time is being added to his contract, as it originally was set to expire on March 1st, on the same day as Mr. Delete, Broken Matt Hardy. Jeff was arrested on 10/3/19, and the police report noted that his car was first seen driving erratically. Later, he was then located in front of a liquor store, and he was seen carrying a case of beer to his car. All while his driver's license was, at the time, revoked. The police followed Jeff, and he was seen weaving badly in his lane, according to the police report. Also, according to the police report, Jeff later admitted to having 2 shots of vodka, and he was uncooperative when asked for a breathalyzer or a blood sample. A judge signed off on orders to allow officers to take a blood sample. In addition to his legal issues, Hardy has also been out of action due to a leg injury, which I'm assuming he is fully recovered from. So now it's just the legal issues. But for all you Jeff Hardy guys out there, for all you Hardy Boys guys out there, 2 things are happening here. 1, Matt's done. He's gone. If I was to make a prediction, Matt is gone. He's going to find success again in pro wrestling with the broken gimmick, and a lot of eyes are going to be fixed on Matt Hardy and what he does. He's going to get that gimmick over. I don't think not as much as the first go-around, but all eyes are going to be on Matt Hardy. Everything that Matt Hardy does, everything that Matt Hardy says is going to just generate interest, no matter where he is. Jeff, he's going to be in the WWE, but it's going to be for an extra year and a half now. They've extended his contract due to all of this injury and personal problems. So he's going to be in the company without his brother. The Hardy Boys are going to be separate entities in separate promotions. And then Jeff, more than likely, is not going to re-sign a new contract, I don't think. And then he's going to join his brother Matt, wherever Matt is, and they'll retire together in the same promotion. That's what I envision for them. Now, I could be completely wrong. I don't know. Matt could end up re-signing with the WWE and stay in the WWE with Jeff, and they both retire in the WWE. I don't think that's going to be a right career move. Now, I know Matt, and who am I to tell fucking Matt Hardy what to do if he wants to make money and bolster his family's, lifestyle and, take care of his family, and the best way to do that is by signing with the WWE. Go be it. Go sign with the WWE, make that kind of money. But you're not going to get anywhere you want creatively, and you got to be okay with that. But I do think that Hardy knows he can make money elsewhere and still have creative license and creative freedom to do and create the vision of what he wants as far as his character goes. That's what I think he's going to do. He's going to take a chance on himself. At this age, that's respectable. A lot of people would be complacent and just succumb. You know what? I'm old. There's not much for me to do anymore. Let's take the easy money and stay and do nothing. But he wants to go out there and create. How could you not be a fan of that? So Matt's gone. Don't know where he ends up. Everybody's saying AEW, the Exalted One, the Dark Order. We'll see what happens. But Jeff Hardy is staying with the WWE. So for all you Jeff Hardy fans out there, get used to him. You got another year and a half of him easy in the WWE. More than likely going to miss Rumble and all of WrestleMania season. Guys, before we get into the Monday Night Raw stuff, got a lot of news coming out of Monday Night Raw. Quickly, got to shout out my good friends over at Audible, audibletrial.com/offthescript. If you guys like getting shit for free, who doesn't? I like free shit. And you guys, I'm sure, love free shit. Sign up using our link, audibletrial.com/offthescript. You guys are going to get 30 days of their service and one free audiobook of your choice. It's a great way to show everybody over at Audible the power of Off the Script. You guys get something for free. You're helping me out. You're helping Audible out. You're helping the channel out. Everybody gets helped out, and that's because of you guys. And if you want that 30 days and that free audiobook, you guys can sign up, and it's absolutely free, no questions asked. You will not be charged unless you want to stay signed on for the 30 days after. After the 30 days, you guys can certainly do that, but there's a ton of stuff out there. Kane's new book, Hornswoggle's new book. You even got Jim Ross's new book coming out, Under the Black Hat. You guys can pre-order that now for free, and he's narrating the entire book, Under the Black Hat by Jim Ross. Go and get it today. Pre-order it today using our link, audibletrial.com/offthescript, and that's coming out right around WrestleMania time. Monday Night Raw ratings for the Royal Rumble Go-Home show. Following a week where the show went up against college football, Raw viewership went up almost 17% Monday night, averaging 2.376 million viewers. The episode opened up with 2.548 million viewers in hour one and stayed relatively steady with a 2.492 million in hour two. There was the usual big third hour drop this week with only 2.101 million viewers on average sticking around for the third hour and the 3-minute overrun. I didn't stick around. I left my living room and I came here to record the show for Monday night, and I had nothing to do with Lana and Lashley and Rusev, and I gladly take anything regarding Liv Morgan. That's pretty much it. But I was not watching that. That is awful. I cannot sit there and watch that fucking nauseating garbage. And the funny thing is, this is a go-home show for the Royal Rumble, and WWE opted to put that as the lasting image that you see for the last thing that you see on this show before the Royal Rumble. Meanwhile, they had a ladder match with Rey Mysterio and Andrade where they nearly killed themselves, and the return of Humberto Carrillo. So I don't know why they did that. Clearly somebody in WWE loves to troll. So I walked away. That third hour kills the show. Lana and Lashley and Rusev killed the show. Nobody's interested in this shit. I don't even know what happened. Rusev lost again? Rusev lost again. How many times can this guy look like a fucking loser in everybody's eyes? Is it over? Probably not. I don't know what you're doing with Liv Morgan in this thing. You got her in this thing because you wanted shock value, and you brought her back to TV away from the original plans that you had for her to put her in this shit, and you ultimately killed her within 3 weeks of her returning. Now she's associated with a loser. Meanwhile, she could have been on her own, developing her own brand, developing her own momentum in the women's division where they need something. You got her with Rusev. Nobody gives a shit. The show averaged 0.83 ratings in the important 18 to 49 demographic, which topped all of cable TV for the night. It was 7th on cable in terms of total viewers, trailing only news-related programming, but besting an NBA game on TNT that did just over 2 million viewers. Year over year, Raw was only down 3.5%, right in the range of what the show has been averaging in recent weeks. The 15.7% drop from hour 2 to hour 3 was the 10th worst the show has done since moving to 3 hours. Yes, and that Lashley and Lana segment, or those segments, are reeling in the ratings, right? So it seems like the wedding shit and this Lashley-Rusev saga may have the same ratings legs as it did, or may not have the same ratings as it did a few weeks ago, which was nothing more than shock value anyway. And they didn't keep any of those viewers coming out of that god-awful wedding that they had. This week's main event segment was Lana and Lashley versus Rusev and Liv Morgan. Like I said, that was the last thing that they wanted you to see before the Royal Rumble. Also on that show, like I said, the U.S. title ladder match was great. And then we had Seth Rollins and what he did with Buddy Murphy winning the tag team championships, which I still don't understand. I ranted about this on Monday Night Raw. I don't really want to go over this again because it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing when I rant about it and nothing changes. They have this thing about putting tag teams together that don't really resemble a tag team. Like Seth Rollins is the master of just random tag teams. He wins championships with these random tag teams. Now you lost the Viking Raiders from the tag team titles. You took the tag team titles from the Viking Raiders. Where do they go now? Where do they go now? Because they're clearly going to add Rey Mysterio into this Seth Rollins deal. That's the way I see it. And where are the Viking Raiders going to go? Are they going to feud with AOP? Are there any other teams on this show for them to feud with? You know what I would do with them? I'd move them back down to NXT, to be quite honest with you. They've died 1,001 deaths. It's like they walked onto a fucking battlefield with nothing but Viking corpses laying about. That's Monday Night Raw to them. Awful. So, I don't understand, and this is all I'll mention here, and I don't understand it. I still don't understand it. I didn't understand it then. How Rollins and Murphy beat the Viking Raiders when Rollins, as far as this Monday Night Messiah thing goes, he doesn't need a championship. I don't get why Rollins needs a championship. Yes, he's a cult leader, but he should be a leader to help all others as he's welcoming them into his family. You know? He's guiding them away from being losers. So he took Buddy Murphy. Buddy Murphy should be learning from Rollins, and he should be challenging for the United States Championship. You know? I could see Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black being added to this thing. Viking Raiders aren't going to be added. Vince hates tag teams. Vince probably looks at them as two fucking slobs. So he's probably going to add Rey Mysterio to this thing and Aleister Black to join Joe and Kevin Owens. And we're going to have this mini brand warfare here. This mini stable warfare. So Black is probably going to get added because of Murphy. Rey Mysterio is probably going to be in there just because Rollins attacked him weeks ago. And Joe and Owens, they got their deal with, you know, Seth Rollins and what's going on there, AOP. I don't know. I don't really get why they won the tag team titles when you have Rollins enlisting a team like AOP, who are a legit tag team. Don't you think that the legit tag team should win the legit tag team titles? I don't get it. I don't get it. Rollins doesn't need to be in a position of carrying gold. He doesn't. Buddy Murphy's stock rose just by being aligned with these guys. AOP has nothing to do now. They have no gold to go after. What the fuck are they doing there? Oh, they're henchmen. Henchmen that do what? You eventually want to get paid for your services. What are they being paid in? Coffee? Maybe a bear claw? A cheese Danish? Whatever Rollins got at the 392? What does he got? What does he got? Fucking ridiculous, man. I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyway, more important things coming out of Monday Night Raw. God forbid everything, God forbid everything that we hear in the news, especially this week, could have been a lot worse. Could have been a lot worse, man. I got sent a story about Asuka. Asuka was in Las Vegas during a fashion show. And while she was there was a planned shooting in the mall in which Asuka was visiting for said fashion show. So she was amongst the crowd running for their lives as there was an active shooter in a Las Vegas mall strip. There was an 18-year-old that was arrested Wednesday on attempted murder charges a day after shooting by this kid, Christopher Valenzuela Olivius. There was apparently a gang dispute. He wounded 3 people, sent shoppers scrambling, and drew massive police response in an upscale Las Vegas strip mall, authorities said. Asuka was a part of the fucking crowd running for their lives. Now, I am very pleased to report that Asuka was unhurt after she was caught up in the Las Vegas shopping center shooting on January 21st. 3 people were shot in the incident, and local police forces are currently investigating what took place, and none of these injuries are said to be life-threatening. Asuka tweeted after hearing shooting and gunfire, revealing that she was forced to run into a store for her safety. I just escaped, she tweeted. There was a scream in front of me at #FashionShowMall. It was like shooting. #guests near the shooting range protected me. I heard screams from the outside of the door several times after fleeing to guests. #FashionShowMall. So, thankfully, she's okay, and she went on to tweet in reply to Killian Dane that she was safe and had not been harmed. Several of Asuka's friends in WWE sent best wishes to her on Twitter, and I'm very happy to report that she is fine and everything is okay with Asuka. Some scary shit, man. Some scary fucking shit, man. The world is a crazy fucking place. And here I am talking about Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy fucking illogically winning tag team championships, and Asuka was at a fucking mall where there was an active 18-year-old fucking idiot, shooting. Looking to shoot up the joint for fucking gang warfare or gang dispute. Jesus Christ. Thank God she's okay. WWE adds a U.S. title match to the Royal Rumble card. On this past episode of Monday Night Raw, Andrade beat Rey Mysterio in a very physical ladder match. Wasn't 2 guys going out there looking to tear the house down as far as flash and glitz and glam and fucking high spots and this and that. It was about the title. That's what I loved about it. This was a brutal ladder match. It was about the title. Physicality is what a ladder match is. They brought it. Following his win, he tried to finish off Rey Mysterio by executing the hammerlock DDT on the concrete, but Humberto Carrillo came out to save him. So Humberto came out in a Rey Mysterio mask, and he brawled with Andrade after the match was over. After his return, Carrillo challenged Andrade for a match at the Royal Rumble, where Andrade will be defending his United States title. WWE has officially announced that Andrade versus Carrillo for the U.S. title will take place at the Royal Rumble. Oh, great. Now I get to hear Humberto get zero reaction in Houston at the second biggest pay-per-view of the year. 2 things will happen here. Actually, 3 things will happen here. One of them I wish don't happen. Let's talk about that one. Now, apparently, Paul Heyman is very high on Andrade. He's very high on Humberto. And I hope to God that this match is actually on the main show. It should be on the main show because the U.S. title has been given spotlight as a major championship in recent weeks. They covered it. They had a title change happen at Madison Square Garden. Ladder match on Monday Night Raw. Andrade is being built up finally after all this fucking time as the guy on this show. I have this strange feeling that WWE and Vince are going to decide day of that the U.S. title is pre-show. And that this title and these guys will be out there in front of a half-empty venue at the fucking Royal Rumble, battling over the United States Championship when that should not be the case. And then, you know what? Vince will do that, and then he'll go right back and tell everybody these guys aren't over. How the fuck could they get over if you're putting them on the goddamn pre-show? That's what I hope don't happen. I could see that happening, because that's the way this man thinks. Now, they could go out there on the main show, and Vince could still think that way. Now, they'll either get over, which I hope that they do. I don't think they will, but I hope that they do. Andrade, maybe. Humberto, not so much. You'll hear very lucid and very weak emotion coming from the crowd on the babyface side of things with Humberto Carrillo, because the guy's not built. The guy's not built. He's not a character. Who is he? Who is he? You know, I mentioned this time and time again. You took him from 205 Live. You put him on Monday Night Raw. Nobody knew who the fuck this guy was. You expected the fans to care because he's got dimples and he's got a pretty face and he's flashy and he tries to be all fucking acrobatic and luchador and this and that. He's a pretty boy. Vince thought that this guy was gonna get over. Failed. And then the booking of Humberto, I don't know how many losses he took to AJ Styles, or from AJ Styles, I should say, and the OC. Every time he was in the ring with the OC, Styles Clash, loss, loser. So why would anybody look at this guy if he's in the ring with somebody like AJ Styles and the OC and he doesn't get over? Who the fuck's going to believe in this guy? Nobody. There hasn't been one cinematic video package. There hasn't been one fucking vignette. There hasn't been one promo. There hasn't been nothing about this guy for me to look at and say, you know what? I want to buy into this guy. I want to put a little money on this guy. Nothing. You're expecting me to care about him because he wants to fucking come out looking like AC Slater from Saved by the Bell with the fucking dimples, right? Give me a break. I can't buy into this guy. All I look at when I look at Humberto Carrillo is, oh, he is WWE's version of Rey Fenix. But he's not Rey Fenix, because nobody could be Rey Fenix. This guy's a loser. Partially, it's not even his fault. It's WWE's misguided fucking judgment on how to debut new talent. Not gonna get over. Andrade is not even over at this point where he should be, because they buried him for fucking years on the main roster. 2 years now this is going on. Finally, he won a fucking major championship. Now, I don't get the point of putting the title on Andrade and then making this match so quick. Like, what did Humberto Carrillo do outside of seeking revenge to get a United States Championship match? Nothing. So either one of two things are going to happen here. They're going to tear the house down, which they very well could. They got all the potential in the world to tear the house down at Royal Rumble. Will they? I don't know. The previous matches haven't really lit the world on fire. They were good, but there was no emotional investment. They're either going to go to Houston, tear the world on fire, or they're going to go out there and it's going to be a dud and everybody's going to be fucking completely dead for this match, and then Vince is going to turn around and then not want to push Humberto Carrillo or Andrade. And he's going to go right back to Paul Heyman and say, I told you so. I hope that doesn't happen. I really hope that doesn't happen. Because this is a day and age and a time where they have to start building new stars. Put some fucking effort into building this guy up and making me care. I don't care about him, and it's not going to be me caring about him simply because he's challenging for the U.S. title. The U.S. title has been fucking dead for years. Now it's finally on somebody that could bring justice to the title. Now you're putting somebody like Humberto Carrillo, who is not built up, against Andrade and the United States Championship. How do you expect me to care about that? I can't. Something more has to be done. And I do not envision a title change. And if there is, the U.S. title might as well be dead and buried, just like it was before all of this shit happened. The original plan for the Raw top storyline. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer discussed Paul Heyman's original plans for Raw. Since Rey Mysterio is freed up, he can now supposedly join the main event babyfaces as they battle Rollins' band of heels. Aleister Black might even join the ranks as well, like I just mentioned. I don't know if this will happen. he says, Meltzer, and I quote, "I don't know if this will happen, but I know that this was the original plan. Now that Rey lost the ladder match to Andrade, that Rey will be in there with them, Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens against AOP and Seth. Now, if Buddy Murphy is in there, they can add Aleister Black in there because they've had an actual program, and that kind of gets new guys in sort of like a main event program." End quote. The future seems to be wide open at this point. WWE is not nailing down any WrestleMania plans as they continue to build towards WrestleMania in Tampa. It will be interesting to see how they pay this feud off, but it seems like a big 8-man tag team match could be on the horizon for the show. Now, WWE hasn't given much of a focus to tag team wrestling this week on Raw. Fans were really surprised to see the Viking Raiders lose the tag team titles to Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. Don't understand it. I really don't get it. I'm going to mention it again. You got guys like AOP who are a legit tag team, yet you give a makeshift tag team for one night only that never is teamed together the tag team championships. CM Punk spoke his mind on WWE Backstage. I wonder if it's just because he actually had something to chime in on tag team wrestling or the fact that Rollins won a tag team championship. He spoke his mind on WWE Backstage. He said that WWE often views tag team titles as a prop. Vince McMahon isn't a fan of tag team wrestling because there always has to be one focus while the other guy plays a secondary role. That's why teams like the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders don't succeed. That's why AOP is not there in the top spot as far as tag teams go. They all look the same. Vince doesn't see. Now, Montez Ford is clearly the breadwinner there in Street Profits. Yeah, Vince probably doesn't see that. We see it. Angelo Dawkins is great too when he wants to be. But we all know that Montez Ford is the star of that team. Now, Vince might not see that. I don't really know how he sees anything, really. He doesn't give a shit. So I'm lumping them into this discussion anyway. Look at the Street Profits. Look at the Viking Raiders. Hanson and Rower, they're both equal. There's not one better than the other. Akam and Razor, same deal. You know, they're pushing Otis over Tucker on SmackDown. You know, New Day, you got Xavier, you got Biggie, you got Kofi. They're the one team that's the exception here because all three of them could be breakout guys. Seriously, Kofi's great, Biggie's great, Xavier could be great when he wants to be. And he's very underrated as far as when he's on, he's underrated. I've said that time and time again. The Usos, I mean, they got the in because they're Samoan. They got the family bloodline. They're not going anywhere but up. There's always going to be a discussion about the Usos, whether they're tag team champions, best tag team in the world, best tag team in the WWE, best tag team of all time. They're always going to be discussed. They're always going to be discussed. But other than that, you know, it's like Sheamus and Cesaro. They both kind of equaled each other out. They're both equally great. So now they're both separate because Vince needs both of them to be separate because one guy needs to be the focus and the other guy needs to be secondary. And they were both equally great. So Vince can't stand that. You know, I don't get that mentality. You know, well, what's going to happen when Undisputed Era gets called up? You're going to look at Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish and do what? Nothing? They're 3-time NXT Tag Team Champions. You cannot bring up the Undisputed Era and not push tag team wrestling. Look at the Revival. Why isn't the Revival better off in the WWE? Because Vince doesn't see anybody but two guys who are alike. There's not one breakout guy there. I don't get it. What are you going to do when you call up, who else is there? You know, Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner. What are you going to do when Zach Gibson and James Drake get called up? You really think they're going to be in NXT UK forever? What about Mustache Mountain? Tyler Bates probably going to break away because he's a fucking stud. Trent Seven? Goodbye. It sucks. It really does suck that Vince looks at tag team wrestling this way. That's why these teams, these solid fucking teams, aren't getting pushed. Because Vince isn't a fan of tag team wrestling because there has to be one focus while the other guy plays a secondary role. Now, I think the tag team titles are often like a prop. I know a certain somebody that doesn't like tag teams. There's always one star and the other guy in a tag team. And Vince doesn't see a star there in any of those teams that I just mentioned. So it's nice to see them used as what I'd imagine is not the main angle on Raw. So it's interesting to see where they're going to go with it. If you're talking thumbs up or thumbs down, it's a thumbs up. That's what CM Punk said on WWE Backstage. CM Punk saw how Vince McMahon views tag team wrestling, and that's not likely to change anytime soon. So why even have tag team titles at this point? Right now, the Raw tag team titles belong to Rollins and Buddy Murphy, and Punk will be waiting to see what they do with those titles next. Awful. Speaking of Seth Rollins, on this episode of What the Clown Said Today. Oh my God, man. I look at it and I just want to laugh. I look at it and I just want to laugh. This guy, is he a pro wrestler or a circus clown? He's like a ringleader. He's juggling the fucking balls and struggling fucking fireballs or whatever the fuck they do at the circus. Ringling Brothers in Barnum and Bailey. This is Seth Rollins. Clownlins. I thought we moved away from that. Clearly not. Seth Rollins stated, and I quote, "Our audience looks for things to complain about." It's an interesting take there, Seth. It's an interesting take there. Now, I have to say this again because everybody thinks I hate this guy. He thinks I hate him. I know he blocked me because of things I said on this very show or Monday Night Raw or something somebody sent him on social media, I'm sure. But Rollins on Monday Night Raw said he's a very forgiving man. So I'm waiting for him to unblock me on social media. But, you know, with things like this, it's very hard to really buy into whatever he's doing. Seriously. Now, in 2018, this guy was the hottest thing in all of wrestling. Legit IC champ. He was being built up on work rate alone. He was just over. Everybody believed in him. Everybody wanted him to be the guy. And WWE pushed Roman Reigns. And then Rollins fell back. He was standing in Roman's shadow. They killed everything because it was not the way that they had planned things to go. They didn't look at Rollins as that, and they killed it because it wasn't on their itinerary. Now, I have to say this. I was for Rollins winning the Royal Rumble last year. I was. And I didn't think WWE was going to fuck it up the way that they did, but they did anyway. And this is why I'm not excited about this year's Royal Rumble. I'm not. But even though Rollins won the Royal Rumble, and we were still kind of with him, he beat Brock Lesnar not once but twice, and then after that, things just fell apart on multiple occasions. WWE could not scramble fast enough to fix the fucking issues that they had brought upon themselves, and now he's a heel. Rollins won the 2019 Royal Rumble, Brock Lesnar, Universal title, WWE title, blah, blah, blah. He cooled off after WrestleMania with the audience fully turned on him, and then with his feud with Bray Wyatt, they officially turned him heel in December, aligning him with AOP. This is what he stated in an interview this week leading to the Royal Rumble. It's in a different era than it was back in the day. Now it's easier to be an antagonist because anyone who consumes entertainment has a voice to be heard. Rollins told the San Antonio Express News. They can get online and say whatever they want, and even if you're one of those people, one or two people who respond to it, that's one or two people more than 20 years ago when they were just sitting in their living rooms talking crap to their friends. Our audience looks for things to complain about, looks for things to dislike and pick apart. It's such a short lifespan. If you can maintain being in that hero role for a lengthy period of time, you are doing something incredible. Rollins refers to himself as the Monday Night Messiah. AOP, Aikman, Razor, Buddy Murphy are now his quote-unquote disciples. When asked whose idea was it to turn him heel, Rollins said it was a collaborative effort, saying the creative team, and I quote, are not going to send me out there and make me do something I'm not comfortable with. I have to believe in what I'm doing out there as a performer. End quote. It's funny. The creative team are not going to send me out there to do something I am not comfortable with. Were you comfortable teaming with Becky Lynch? Please ask yourself that question. Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, if you were comfortable going out there exposing your relationship with Becky Lynch? The answer is no. No matter how many times you want to bullshit us, you weren't comfortable with it. And that is one of the things that led to you being uncool. So you should have spoke up. You should have went directly to Vince, and you should have went directly to whoever the fuck's in charge over there and say, Vince, I don't want my relationship with my fiance to be brought to television, and I don't like the way that this storyline is going. I don't want to be in this thing with her. In fact, you should have stated that you didn't want to be in this thing with Baron fucking Corbin, which is another thing that ruined your fucking run. How are you going to come out of WrestleMania and beat Brock Lesnar, and the first feud you have is against Baron Corbin? And then they want to add Lacey Evans and add Becky Lynch, and Seth Rollins wants to know why he's uncool. Did you go out there and did you explain to the creative team how you were uncomfortable when you went out there crying to the fans, crying to everybody how Lesnar beat the shit out of you and how you're met with silence because you went out there and said, I don't know if I could do this anymore. I do this because I love it, but it comes to a point in my life where I don't know if I should be doing this anymore. You went out there and you put yourself in a position where everyone looked at you and your character as a fucking pussy. Were you comfortable with that? Were you comfortable crying to the audience that you can't do it anymore because Brock Lesnar F5'd you? Whose fucking fault was that? You kept coming and coming and coming, and then you want to explain to the audience, I don't know if I could do this anymore. You shouldn't have done anything in the first place. It's Brock Lesnar. It's like walking into a fucking lion's den and thinking, well, I'm going to have my lunch sitting right here while the lion is just chilling over there and not expecting him to fucking come over and fucking sniff the food and then devour you, rip your arm off, and then fucking club you with your own arm. Give me a break. Come on. This is ridiculous. This guy doesn't think it's let me suck that corporate cock. Let me back up my guys. Let me back up my team. Again, it's another situation where he is so ingrained in being the guy that he goes and conducts these interviews and he comes off looking like a fucking idiot because he can't say anything bad about the team he's playing for. So don't say anything at all. If you don't have anything good to say, don't say it at all. The difference with me is, and I know there'll be some fucking cretin in the comment section, well, JD doesn't have anything good to say. Maybe he should just quit having a podcast. Now, I have everything that comes out of my mouth in regards to this show is good. I am bringing peace to all of you, knowing that I'm not the only one suffering through this shit. I'm not the only one thinking the way that I'm thinking. I want you guys to be aware of that. So when you think that you're watching this shit and it doesn't make sense, you come here and your feelings and your opinions are validated. Welcome, my sons. I'm here to guide you on what we are watching weekly, every single week with Monday and Friday. But this guy's ridiculous. Oh, the creative team is not going to send me out there to do something I'm not comfortable with. Really? How about the feud with Bray Wyatt and The Fiend? Were you terrified? Did everybody turn their back on you because, we don't want to see Seth Rollins. The Fiend is a lot cooler. You added to that. You sat in the corner fucking terrified. Oh my God, of The Fiend. Now, I don't know if I'm hearing this correctly, but aren't you a fighting champion? Shouldn't you be standing up to The Fiend? You come off as this guy that you want to bring this aura and this environment to the WWE Universal Championship, and then you're backing into a fucking corner, afraid of some fucking idiot in a mask who gives him mythical power. This is not the day and age where we're fucking watching The Undertaker, just dwarf over everybody and raise up from the fucking dead. We're not watching the day and age where The Undertaker rose up from a fucking casket and then choked out Hulk Hogan on the funeral parlor and ripped off his fucking cross and just put it on his chest as if it was fucking just liquid acid he was holding. Like it was burning a fucking hole through his hand. This is not those days anymore, bro. Be a fucking man. Why aren't you cool? Look at all the situations that you put yourself in. Tell me if you thought when they pitched these ideas to you that, oh, well, the creative team's not going to send me out there and do something I'm not comfortable with. Were you comfortable with all of those situations? Did you not think that the fans would turn their back on you and things would backfire on you? What a fucking idiot. What a fucking idiot he is. The fans are looking to something, or the fans are looking for something to complain about. They're looking for something to dislike and pick apart. Let me tell you something about that. You'd think that people go on YouTube and they type away on Twitter during the shows because they just simply want to complain. They want to simply complain. You do realize that you work for a wrestling company that has the absolute worst creative in the industry. I hope you do realize that. No matter how many times you want to boast them up and say they're hardworking and the machine is well oiled or all this shit, they fucking suck at their job. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. And the boss that you work for is a complete fucking buffoon. A complete buffoon. I'm looking for something to complain about, he says. Let me tell you something. And this is all I'll say on this because I have absolutely no desire to be talking about this anymore. What makes you think? What makes you think that you deserve for me to just sit there and accept and sit there and just observe? You don't deserve me watching as a fan. If I'm not picking this show apart, I am not doing my job or the job that I put forth for myself here on the channel. What makes you think you deserve the trust and the goodwill of the fans for us not to complain? What has WWE done? What have you done to put us in a position where the first thing that we are thinking about is not complain? You've done nothing. Absolutely nothing. So when you and your staff and your team and your company gets in a position where when I watch a show and I want to genuinely enjoy a show and I know they're going to put on a good show, when you get to that point, then I won't complain. You've had so many strings of fucking terrible creative. Now you expect me to sit there and keep my mouth shut? What makes you think that you've garnered any trust and faith and hope in us not to complain? Now look at NXT. Do I watch NXT and do I pick NXT apart? Do I watch NXT waiting with a pen and paper, waiting with my iPad to write down, oh, illogical, oh, that's bad, illogical, this doesn't make sense, this is wrong outcome, this and that, this show sucks. Do I do that for NXT? Of course I don't. Do you want to know why I don't do that with NXT? Because NXT has had 7 years of fantastic storytelling, pro wrestling, and 7 years of them not insulting our fucking intelligence. You insult our intelligence, and then you have the fucking balls to go on some fucking interview and tell us, oh, the fans are to blame, the fans turned their backs on me, I don't know why, our fans are looking for things to complain about. When you can string along 7 years on Monday Night Raw and have 7 years of, and I'm not saying NXT is the best show. It is the best show, but I'm not saying that they're perfect. NXT, I would say, if you're rating them on a percentage scale, I'd say 98%. 98 to a 99% of their shows are just good, very good to excellent. Almost fucking perfect with those takeover shows. When you can do 7 years of that and make me fucking happy, then I will not sit down and the first thing I think about is what I'm going to complain about tonight. You give me no choice but to complain. So your comment on this topic and your comment in this interview makes you look like a fucking idiot. They're looking for things to complain about. Well, if your show didn't fucking suck, I didn't have things to complain about. Or I wouldn't have things to complain about. Every single week, you think that a 3-hour Monday Night Raw, which is the worst fucking program in the history of this industry, in this sport, you think during a 3-hour show I'm not going to find things to complain about? Yes, because please tell me how glorious and how creative and how great the Lana and Lashley wedding was. Give me a fucking break with your clown-like response. Sky proves to be, this might have been the dumbest fucking thing that this guy has stated in all these interviews he's done. What a complete buffoon. A complete buffoon. This makes me hate him all over again. I guarantee you that Salrex is going to do clown makeup on him in the thumbnail again because this is what he deserves. I don't understand. I don't even know how else to go about telling you and explaining you my thoughts on this. Do they deserve anything but complaints? No. They don't deserve anything but complaints. I'm not saying the overall entirety of the show is bad, but when it's bad, it just takes away from all that's good. And Vince McMahon is the bad on these shows. And responses like this are what makes me not want to support the main roster. Moving on here, Paul Heyman, who he wants to push in 2020, seems like it's a revolving door of people. Meltzer explains on the Wrestling Observer Live, which is from the Jericho Cruise, by the way. I don't know how they have internet out there. I don't know how they're doing their job out there, but it's great. He states, and I quote, I gotta get the hell out of here. Got so much news in this fucking episode, man. I think the idea is, Paul Heyman is really high on Buddy Murphy, and having him in a tag team with Rollins, I think that the idea is that you can watch this thing evolve, and it's pretty clear. I mean, Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, Humberto Carrillo, Andrade, Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy are his guys, his projects. So, I mean, that's the whole theme of the television show. I mean, it's always to get people over. But those are guys who are really being earmarked to get over. Andrade is another obvious star being pushed this year. He won the United States title. And at the end of 2019, he beat Rey Mysterio in Madison Square Garden to win that title. He's been holding it since then. Black, McIntyre, Ricochet, Carrillo, they're getting TV time. Ricochet, not so much. And it's just a matter of time before they make even bigger impacts on Monday night. I don't know if Ricochet is going to be making an impact. I don't see Vince McMahon getting behind Ricochet. Vince McMahon could put the fucking nail in the coffin in any one of these guys anytime he wants. He's already done it with Humberto. He's done it with Drew McIntyre. He's done it with Ricochet. He's done it with Andrade. He's done it with Aleister Black. He's done it with Buddy Murphy. Every one of these guys was on TV, pushed because we need to create new stars, and then they were scaled back significantly. Buddy Murphy, Roman Reigns, and Daniel Bryan. How you have two matches like that with a win over Bryan and a match of the year candidate with Roman Reigns and not be pushed? So clearly Vince didn't see anything in him then. What makes you think I should have faith in him to push Buddy Murphy? I don't. You may be getting what you want now, but who's to say when he moves from Raw to SmackDown in a year or two that it's going to remain the same? He might go right back to being in catering. Aleister Black. I look at this guy and I don't really understand how he hasn't won a major championship and how he hasn't been in anything major. It's coming, and then he should be off and running. So when he gets to that plateau, I don't see him coming down from that plateau because he's that good. Andrade took them 2 years. 2 years to push Andrade in the position that he's in right now. Why? Because he's Mexican. He doesn't speak English. Now, all of a sudden, they're pushing him, and his English, I don't think, is any better than it was 2 years ago. So Vince McMahon didn't push him because he didn't speak English. Now he's being pushed. So when he gets tired of Andrade not speaking English, how long is it going to be before he's right back to being where he was? A loser. Humberto. You know, he's pretty. He's got the look, right? How long before Vince McMahon quits on him? He's already done it once. He did it with Cedric. So what makes you think he's not going to do it again to Humberto Carrillo? Drew McIntyre. Guy's been on the main roster for how long? And not one major opportunity at a major title. Not one. And Ricochet, where has he been? If any indication was made on Monday night, they don't give a fuck. They made him look like a loser. Everybody's like, oh, they're building him up. Paul Heyman put him in that position because he's one of his guys. He believes in him. What, to get devoured by Brock Lesnar? He did anything but build him up. He was a loser on Monday night. How you have these string of guys on Monday night and the show still is not where it needs to be. Oh, it's a work in progress. Yeah, I see it's a work in progress. A year ago, we wouldn't be talking about any of these guys. It'd still be Corbin and Reigns and Bliss and Charlotte and all these fucking characters that Vince just can't let go of. That this is Vince McMahon we're talking about. You think Vince McMahon all of a sudden has turned over a new leaf and has given the reins to Paul Heyman to push these guys? He has the magic wand. When he says, I don't want it, gone. Goodbye. So yeah, this is who Paul Heyman wants to push. But when Vince says, I don't want to push them anymore, what's going to happen? They're going to drop like flies. Rusev talks other wrestling companies not telling stories with emotion. I don't know what the mentality is with this locker room. I really don't. The story of Lana leaving Rusev for Bobby Lashley is simple in execution. Is it good? Fuck no. It's complete garbage. It's rubbish. It is downright Jerry Springer, Phil Donahue, fucking whatever. Tabloid garbage. Now, I don't even know what to say about this. He says other wrestling companies are not telling stories with emotion. That's funny because I watch AEW and I see nothing but emotion. I see nothing but emotion from Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley and Cody and MJF. What is he talking about? Who is he talking about? What other promotion is there that really would warrant a response like this? Oh, New Japan doesn't do anything with emotion. If you don't think that New Japan does anything with emotion, then you're clearly not watching what the fuck they're doing. Now, I don't watch New Japan, but I know that everything that comes as far as emotion goes to the in-ring product. If you sit there and tell me, oh, a match with Okada has no emotion, or a match with Ibushi has no emotion, or a match with Will Ospreay has no emotion, you're a fucking idiot. The emotion is told in different ways. Some emotion is told through a promo. Some emotion is told through a promo and in-ring work. Some emotion is told through in-ring work and not a promo. What Rusev is talking about, there is no emotion here. Because nobody believes that Rusev and Lana are divorced. So what emotion is it? There's no emotion here. It's nothing but a fucking cheap comedy act. What emotion is there? Nobody believes it. Nobody's buying into it. Nobody's invested in it on a week-to-week basis to want to fucking tune in to see what the next chapter is. It's embarrassing. So Rusev told a recent interviewer, he told Real Talker, R-E-E-L, real, like movie reel, Talker, that he still wanted to make sure that the WWE Universe understood that the story had time to absorb, or they needed time to absorb it, before anything got physical between himself and the almighty Bobby Lashley. He says this, and I quote, he has the mentality of a fighter. He always wants to fight. I'm like, dude, calm down. It's not about fighting. We're going to fight. But let's tell the story of why we fight. That's the problem with the stories in different organizations. They all want to fight, but nobody knows what they're fighting for. This is real emotion. People relate to it. That's why they love it or hate it so much. It's so real. This is why they love it. They love it because it's not real emotion. They love it because they have a love for drama. They have a love for filling a void in their life because their life is so utterly boring that they find some solace in tabloid trash playing out on TV on a fictional fucking TV show. And then they hate it. They hate it because it sucks and it doesn't belong in a pro wrestling show. Now, I don't know what this guy's trying to say. I really don't. Nobody believes, the end game here is, the point they're trying to make is nobody believes Lana is separated from Rusev. Nobody believes Lana is with Bobby Lashley. Nobody believes Lana is sleeping with Lashley. Nobody believes fucking Lana is divorced from Rusev. Nobody. Nobody believes that Lana's having sex with Bobby Lashley. I mean, who thinks that? Unless you're fucking 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 3 years old, 10 years old? Who? Real emotion. What Cody did with his brother. Real emotion. With Cody and MJF, real emotion. With Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, real emotion. Because in real life, they're best friends. And then we're seeing that play out on TV. And Ciampa, just everything with the injury and him turning his back on Gargano and then coming back. And it just made for an incredible storyline. You know, emotion. Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. Mr. WrestleMania. He's never beaten The Undertaker in that manner. And he made it his life's goal. He was obsessed with beating The Undertaker and ending the streak. Real emotion, because we knew how good Shawn Michaels was and it tested how good he really was. This is not real emotion. Everything about this speaks to me as being unrealistic and fake. So I don't know what he's talking about. Yeah, emotion. Love and hate are an emotion. It's a feeling. But they love it because they feed on that drama. That doesn't necessarily mean they like this shit. They hate it because it doesn't belong in a pro wrestling show. It doesn't belong anywhere on fucking TV. It's embarrassing. And it was only done, and people are up on this and they're wise to this, it was only done because WWE was seeking desperation in the ratings. Because all this storyline did was tell everybody that they are completely incapable of writing a good pro wrestling storyline. I don't know how NXT and the WWE are even in the same company. I don't know how NXT is even owned by these people. It just, that's real emotion to me. That is real emotion. I don't get it. I think there's some sort of fucking disease going around in the locker room. Idiocy. Stupidity. It's contagious. Please, stay away from everybody. It's one of those things that they just don't know when to shut up. Bobby Lashley. I actually feel bad for this guy. He was interviewed by Gary Cassidy, and he was talking about, you know, why he's done so many poor segments and storylines since returning. He says this, and I quote, "A match with Brock Lesnar is the only reason I came back to WWE, so everything I'm doing around it, I don't even know why I'm doing. I'm just doing whatever I need to do to get to that match, whether it's singing, bringing my sisters on TV, or playing that nonsense. They've held me back this long, and I don't know if it's a point of paying my dues here. I don't care what it is. I'm going to get that match." Lashley's talked about wanting a match or a fight with Brock Lesnar since 2009. Then Lesnar was fighting in the UFC and Lashley was fighting in Bellator. Now both are in the WWE, and Lashley's been back in the WWE since 2018 WrestleMania. Since Lashley's return, the only time a match seemed possible was in the summer of 2018. Lashley had beaten Roman Reigns prior to SummerSlam, but WWE chose to have Reigns face Lesnar regardless. Of course they did. What do you think, they're going to go away from their chosen one? Give me a break. Lashley has been in this storyline with Rusev and Lana since October 2019. Needless to say, it does not seem like Lashley is being built up for a feud with Lesnar, but he still wants the match. This is exactly, he answered his own question. I don't know if it's a point of me paying my dues here. Of course it is. You left and you went to go do your own thing. You became a star in Bellator, in MMA. You became a bigger star in Impact than you ever were in WWE. And now you're back home. Quote unquote home. WWE knows that you did not build your star with them. You built it with Impact. You built it with MMA, Bellator, doing cage fighting, mixed martial arts. Now you want to come back here and take all of that star you built with other promotions. And now you expect us to give you that star back and make you an even bigger star when you couldn't even have the decency to build your star with us? If he stayed in the WWE and paid his dues throughout that entire stretch, then they would have booked him against Brock Lesnar. That would have been the thing. That would have been it. But he wanted to go. and do what he wanted to do. I don't think that WWE would have allowed Lashley or someone like Lashley to go do Bellator while under WWE contract. Who are they to prohibit anybody from going and doing what they want to do? He wanted to challenge himself. But these people don't think. They think for themselves. But when they eventually come back around, and they all do, they think that it's just going to be swept under the rug. That's not how this company works. Christian Cage went through it. Fucking Kurt Angle went through it. Why don't you think Kurt Angle got the retirement match that he wanted at WrestleMania? It's because he went and made himself into a legit fucking Hall of Famer in TNA. He lasted longer in TNA than he did in WWE. He didn't have a better career there, but the fact that that stretch happened, WWE wasn't going to pay him with the WrestleMania match that he wanted. He wanted John Cena. They gave him Baron fucking Corbin. Why is EC3 getting buried? Why? Because he went over to Impact Wrestling and made himself a star in Impact Wrestling. Why is Drew McIntyre suffering the way he's suffering? Now we're finally seeing him come up. That doesn't really guarantee you that he's going to get where we all want him to be. But why is he floated around doing nothing without a major title shot or a major championship in his run in WWE so far? Because he went over to TNA and made himself into Drew McIntyre that we see today. And he's paying for it. All these guys might forever pay for it. You don't think they're smart? They know. WWE knows. Pepperidge Farm knows. Bobby Lashley getting a match with Brock Lesnar? I don't think that will ever happen. I would be shocked if it happens. But they don't realize that in the time in which they want to leave. Then they want to come back home and then they wonder why. Why? Why aren't they giving me this match with Lesnar? That's why. That's why. Not really that difficult to figure out. I actually feel bad for him because even though I sit here and I trash Bobby Lashley every chance I get, the guy sucks at a promo. Guy's not all that interesting in the ring whatsoever. When I hear his theme music, I hear nothing but fucking silence. If they gave us a match with Lashley and Lesnar, I would be invested in that because that's legit. That's real. And they could make a lot of money off of that. I'm surprised they haven't done it. That would make headlines everywhere. I don't know why. And who else is left for Lesnar after this string of WWE matches that he's going to go on? Who's left? Who is legitimately left? Nobody. They're going to have to come to it eventually. If Lesnar asks for it, then Lashley will get it. But WWE, are they thinking about that match now? No, of course not. And it's because he went and made himself a bigger star somewhere and not in WWE. It's always the case. Matt Hardy says appearances on WWE TV are coming to an end. Matt Hardy took to Twitter after Raw. I tweeted during Raw about WWE being classy, how they buried Matt Hardy because he didn't sign a new contract. My tweet got 2,000 likes. I guarantee you he's seen it. He had to see it. It was the number one trending tweet in the entire section of, if you looked up Matt Hardy, it's the first thing that popped up. He took to Twitter after being buried by Eric Rowan. And Matt Hardy was trending top 10 on social media on Tuesday, early Tuesday morning. He says, wow, thanks for all the love and support around the world. I'm trending worldwide because of my WWE slump and string of Raw TV losses. Hope you're enjoying my WWE TV appearances. At this rate, there won't be any more. End quote. Obviously, Hardy is implying that he's leaving the WWE. It's been reported that Hardy is considering his options with his current WWE deal set to expire March 1st. So, there's one thing here that I could see it happening, but I hope it doesn't. Is WWE all of a sudden going to give Matt Hardy the platform to be creative? Is all of this and all of what we're seeing on his YouTube channel, which I've watched every episode so far, it is great shit. If you enjoyed the broken gimmick from Impact days, you will have loved everything he's done here. Everything about that just reeks of old Impact, broken, deletion, the fucking all that shit, I think it's great. And there was actually a deletion match on his YouTube channel not too long ago where he tried to find his own self. He had to go through the trials and tribulations of deletion, and he had to fight for his being or something like that. It was great. It was great. Now, I don't think, I could be wrong, because come down to the wire, who knows what he's thinking. This could all be turned into a storyline. WWE sent him out there and puts him in a slump, and he's losing, and he's trending, and he goes on social media to complain. He either A, is using this as far as a storyline, and WWE is going to re-sign him, or he's going to re-sign, and WWE is going to give him the broken or woken gimmick again, knowing that Jeff is not really coming back anytime soon, or he's just going to really just put it out there and say, I'm done. I'm leaving. I know I'm up. Bury me. I'm going to go do what I got to do somewhere else. But either way you look at it, I think everybody's in the boat of him wanting to be free. And I hope that's the case. Just break away from the machine, man. Break away from the machine and do what you got to do. Because they're not going to do anything with you. They don't respect you. He knows, he has to know he was always the other Hardy. You're not going to get what you want here. I'm sure someone out there will pay you very well to have your services. And all eyes will be on you again. Why would you want all eyes to be on you because you're a loser in WWE? Why wouldn't you want all eyes to be on you because you're back creating and making people laugh and feel good? And just being creatively free. Creating pro wrestling storylines that we can all fall in love with and just watch and be happy with. Why would you want to be trending for any other reason but that? I hope he leaves. And it seems to be that that tweet could be the door opening and him walking out. March 1st. March 1st. A little bit more than a month. We will find out. Drew McIntyre said he did not like the gimmick WWE gave him after speaking to Corey Graves after the other clown on After the Bell. McIntyre explained that he didn't love the Scottish psychopath persona. It wasn't him, and it wasn't who he was, and now he's seeking to show who he really is in the ring through character that the WWE gives him to work in. Yeah, 100%. I am psychotic when it comes to that and my drive, my passion. I didn't necessarily love the Scottish psychopath name because it wasn't something I am necessarily, feeling. I'm not a psychopath. I wasn't necessarily a psychopath on television, but the real Drew Galloway is psychotic in his drive. This is what I always wanted to do. I did let that huge opportunity slip away, and I don't regret it. Like I said, all the ups and the downs have led me to the man I am today and the position that I am in, to be ready for every opportunity that has been given to me. End quote. I think Drew McIntyre has looked, honestly, on his main roster run so far on Raw, this is the best he has looked. Is WWE going to capitalize on that? No. If Matt Riddle doesn't win the Royal Rumble, which I know he's not, I keep saying it, I would love him to win and fight Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and the promo work between Riddle and Lesnar and Heyman would be fantastic television, TV gold. WWE doesn't have the balls to do that. John Cena was my other choice. John Cena comes out at number 30, Lesnar and Cena at WrestleMania, but all the news and rumors, it could be a red herring. We don't know. Cena could be playing the fans. He is the master troll if you look at his Instagram account. He could be saying things to throw people off, but it really is the plan that he's coming out at number 30 and is going to win the Royal Rumble and fight Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. But if Cena doesn't win the Royal Rumble, he was my other choice. If Cena and Riddle do not win the Royal Rumble, McIntyre is my choice to win the Royal Rumble. Does WWE go with McIntyre? They could. They should. It's a legit match. Somebody that I could and everybody could easily buy into against Lesnar. Do they have the balls to do it? No. Do they choose McIntyre over Reigns? No. Does McIntyre fall into that camp of, well, you went somewhere else to make your name and now you expect us to give you the Royal Rumble and a WrestleMania main event? No. They're not going to do that. They don't have the balls to do that, even though they should. Because Drew McIntyre is a talent that you don't really see walk through the door all that often. He's got literally everything about him. Everything about him is fucking pro wrestler. The look, the size, the in-ring ability, the mic skill, everything. He's got, if you talk about a five-tool player in baseball, he's a five-tool player. He's got everything. The perfect pro wrestler. You look at Drew McIntyre, he's the perfect pro wrestler. How you put this guy in a ring on Raw and you don't book him as the top guy in your company or on your brand. Lesnar versus McIntyre would be fucking great. It's different. People would buy into it. And the mic work alone would be standout. McIntyre speaking from the heart about how he truly feels, that brought to television on where he came from, on how he's been suppressed, how he's been held down, and now he's getting WrestleMania main event against Lesnar. It's TV gold. No, but Roman Reigns versus The Fiend. is where WWE wants to go with that, and Roman Reigns main eventing a 13th WrestleMania. Give me a fucking break. Go with something different. 2020 needs to be about creating new stars. Vince kills, Triple H creates. It's been the motto and will be the motto until Vince is killed off. WWE Backstage ratings are in. CM Punk and Becky Lynch were on the show. Backstage viewership over 100,000 on Tuesday night. Tuesday's episode did 111,000 viewers on FS1, up from 84,000 the week before, where the Usos were on. The rating came in the 18 to 49 demo at 0.06. That's up from 0.03 the week before. The episode started at 11:16 p.m. Eastern Time after the Marquette versus St. John's college basketball game. So they had that little 15-minute delay in the show starting, 16-minute delay. CM Punk made his third appearance as an analyst on WWE Backstage this week. It was the first time since he's been on the show since December 10th. Who's got the fucking coziest job in the world? CM Punk. Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch was also featured on WWE Backstage ahead of her title defense against Asuka at the Royal Rumble. So, the show is not really drawing as I would expect with CM Punk there, but it's on at 11 o'clock on Tuesday night. School and kids and work and this and that, grown-up things. So who the fuck knows? Who knows what the DVR numbers are? And it's not like WWE shows that they give a shit about Backstage. They haven't even promoted CM Punk. Like, CM Punk is going to be on the show Monday Night Raw. They did not even promote CM Punk was going to be there. It was just Becky Lynch with a picture of fucking Booker T, Renee Young, and Paige. They didn't even say one fucking word, not one peep about CM Punk. WWE left him off the Backstage plug on Raw. Now, he's obviously the show's biggest draw, and if they're not promoting Punk, either one of two things. One, Punk is in trouble by WWE brass for the comments he said about The Miz. Or B, could be both, WWE really doesn't have anything to do with the show. They don't give a shit about the show. They don't want anything to do with the show. And they're contractually obligated to push WWE Backstage because of their partnership with Fox. And they really don't have anything to do with the show, period. So, I don't know how you're going to have CM Punk on the show and not promote CM Punk. They were all about promoting CM Punk. They were all about promoting CM Punk when he first signed on. The return of CM Punk, right? Now, I'm going to throw this out there. Maybe they're not promoting CM Punk because he really is going to be in the Royal Rumble. And they don't want his name mentioned on WWE TV. Oh, who? Who? Punk? Who's that? Phil Brooks? Who's that? CM Punk? Maybe he is really going to be in the Royal Rumble. And they wanted to stay away from all of that talk about Punk being on Backstage and he's coming back and he hasn't been on since December 10th and it's the first time he's been on this year talking Royal Rumble. Why wouldn't you promote that? I don't get it. What type of fucking idiotic decision is that? Maybe he is in the Royal Rumble. I don't know. Maybe we get Punk and Lesnar at WrestleMania. Yeah, you wish. I don't think it's going to happen. If it happens, I would be completely floored. Completely floored. The AEW ratings. The Rock and Rager at Sea beat NXT. AEW Dynamite drew 871,000 total live viewers. NXT did 769,000 total live viewers. Both shows had stiff competition. NXT was likely affected by the impeachment coverage since NXT's audience skews towards older fans. AEW Dynamite was up against stiff NBA basketball, especially the hype surrounding Zion Williamson's NBA debut. Who gives a shit? The demographic breakdown is as follows. 18 to 49, AEW had a 0.35, NXT had a 0.24. Female viewers, AEW had a 0.22, NXT had 0.16. Male viewers, 0.48, 18 to 49 demographic, NXT had 0.32. Female viewers 12 to 34. AEW had a 0.19, NXT had a 0.11. Viewers 18 to 34. AEW had a 0.20 and NXT had a 0.18. Male viewers, 12 to 34. AEW had a 0.20 and NXT had a 0.16. Viewers 25 to 54. AEW had a 0.41 and NXT had a 0.27. Viewers 50 plus. NXT beat AEW, which is always the case. Those old timers, man, the prune juice wielding, fucking cane walking, and no teeth chomping, nursing home individuals, 0.38 to 0.34. No offense to any of my nursing home audience out there that are over the age of 50. I'm only doing it because it's WWE, and I gotta get my shots in on them when I can. So, listen, this is something that I expected on Wednesday nights. I mean, the Jericho Cruise and giving off that different vibe, even though being taped. Oh, how could NXT lose to a taped episode of Dynamite? It wasn't a bad show. It was actually a very good show. It wasn't as top quality as what we expect from Dynamite, but the different setting and the coolness factor and being there in the Bahamas and just everything kind of worked in their favor. You know, they were still down because of other things that were going on that night, but they still beat NXT. They still beat NXT. A taped show, it doesn't matter if it's taped. If it's good enough, it's going to beat out whatever's live that is countering them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So I expected this, and NXT loses in the Wednesday night ratings, despite AEW being a tape show. I am not surprised by this whatsoever. AEW's got a lot of things going for it right now. They got different vibes, different feels for their shows. They got these theme shows that worked in their advantage, which I see happening every single year. They're building towards Revolution. They're in the middle of a pay-per-view bill with 5 weeks left. It's only going to get better from here on out, right? I know TakeOver's February 16th, but a lot more people are invested in what AEW is doing. There's nothing wrong with that. NXT was great on Wednesday. It was a great show. Dynamite, I'm a sucker for the theme shows. So it was a great night of wrestling, like it is every week. It's just the way it is right now. AEW is right now got the advantage. They got the advantage right now, and they're going to continue getting the advantage because I see nothing but them up, going up from here. Possible signings, Matt Hardy, Rey Mysterio's a free agent. Nobody knows where Killer Cross is going to end up, right? Probably end up in NXT from what I know. But the Revival, you got Lance Archer, Brian Cage is coming in. They got some good things going on. It's going to be much better after Revolution. It's going to be, right now they're so far ahead of where I thought they'd be. They're so far ahead of where people thought they would be in general. So give them some fucking props. And they're still learning. Imagine them a year from now, how good they're going to be. Just give them their fucking due, man. They're both great shows. But AEW right now has just got the momentum. There's nothing wrong with that. And you guys know after last week what I think the reason is. Just go back and watch that show on Friday, and you'll know the reason why I think AEW is beating NXT in the ratings. I think I broke it down perfectly. Backstage reaction from WWE regarding AEW's new TV deal with TNT. This is interesting, and for those people who do not think that there's an AEW effect, this should fucking shut you up forever. Forever. There's an AEW effect, and it's fucking real. And it's fucking as strong as ever. Now, obviously, there are a lot of people in AEW who are happy about the latest news with the new deal from TNT. Extends through 2023 with a fourth-year option for 2024 that would give AEW a significant pay increase. The wrestlers and staff in AEW are not the only people happy about this news. The morale in WWE is much better than it was a couple of months ago, in part because there is a push from creative to build up the younger talent, but also because wrestlers are making more money. One source stated that the wrestlers are happy for AEW in WWE. The wrestlers in WWE are happy for AEW because this ensures that WWE will continue to pay out big money contracts for years to come, and wrestlers have more leverage than ever before. And I quote, "Guys are making more money, and they are not afraid to ask for time off like before. We know these aren't guaranteed contracts like WCW, but Vince is more accommodating these days because he wants to keep everyone happy so that the wall, his wall has been torn down slightly. Some people are getting offered more money with a better schedule. We have AEW to thank for that. So I would like to say thank you, AEW, for being around." One other person noted how years ago Vince McMahon would only consider giving a relaxed schedule to guys like Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, but times have changed, and some wrestlers on the current roster are working fewer dates per terms of their new deal. He just offered the Revival a much shorter schedule as far as contract goes to keep them around. The revival of all people. Randy Orton was already working fewer dates on his previous contract, and his new deal calls for a better schedule with fewer dates than his previous deal. Same thing happened with AJ Styles. Same thing happened with Gallows and Anderson. One other wrestler said that he had plans to retire with plans to transition into a different role in the business, but that wrestlers, have had a change of heart and will be looking to sign new contracts for more money when their current deal expires. That would have not been possible without the leverage that comes from another major wrestling promotion on the scene like AEW. Do I need to go over this anymore? I mean, seriously. If you don't think that AEW has an adverse effect on WWE, you're a complete ignorant clown. It did for every other reason that you know of in the past that has been reported. This is the cherry on top of the cake. TNT extending AEW through 2024 is going to get everybody in the WWE has an existing contract 5 times more money than they had on their previous deals with a lighter schedule. And who do they have to thank for that? AEW. Because Vince doesn't want to lose anybody to the competition. So not only is it getting all of their guys, WWE, bigger contracts when their existing contracts are coming up, but WWE is afraid of AEW scooping up their most coveted talent when their contract expires because of a new environment, different creative, a fresh start, and the same amount of pay. AEW effect? I think so, folks. Get with the program. WWE denies that Triple H met with Killer Kross. Sure, Triple H didn't meet with Killer Kross. I know he met with Killer Kross because I know people that I know were going to meet with Killer Kross. And I was told he met with Triple H. Fuck out of here. All they did was deny that they met with Killer Kross. So the denial, in my eyes, is them actually saying, yeah, we met with Killer Kross. That's what that means. Them denying means that they don't want anybody to know. And them denying means that he'll show up on NXT or on the main roster or in the Royal Rumble for all we know. I hope that's not the case because that's not where I would debut him. Nobody knows who the fuck he is. Don't make the same mistake you did with AJ Styles. He's not an AJ Styles. AJ pulled that off even though I didn't agree with that then. They do not need to do the same thing with Killer Kross. He's WWE bound, no question. Fightful Select and Sean Ross Sapp is reporting that WWE has strongly denied that Triple H met with Killer Kross last week ahead of a potential WWE move. Fightful Select is reporting that independent promotions are unable to book Killer Kross for appearances during WrestleMania weekend shows, implying that he might be debuting for WWE rather soon. I am predicting that he shows up at the end of TakeOver Tampa. That's what I think. Some have speculated that this means Kross is going to debut for the WWE over that weekend, as it is believed that Kross could head straight to the main roster. Some have speculated that he will either debut at WrestleMania or on Raw the following night. Neither. NXT TakeOver. Others have suggested that WWE could use the hype of the Royal Rumble this weekend to debut Kross as a surprise entrant, but this seems rather unlikely with the show taking place in just a few days. Kross will be tempted to join WWE. Obviously, the money, the star power, and the obvious crazy push that they're going to give this guy to sway him away from AEW. Plus, his girlfriend, Scarlett Bordeaux, is in NXT. That obviously could definitely sway any decision. So he's WWE bound, no question. I would be shocked if he ends up anywhere else. And no, he's not going to be the exalted one for the Dark Order. That's just awful. That's just awful. That's a ceiling right there. You don't want to put a ceiling around someone like Killer Kross. Walter! Quickly, I got 2 more stories, quickly. Walter says he wasn't invested in the Survivor Series. He sat down and had an interview talking about the Survivor Series with Metro UK. He says in this interview that he wasn't invested and didn't care about the Survivor Series match that he was a part of. In fact, he thought it was a weird match, and he elaborated on his belief. Now, I think that he was kind of just playing the role of Imperium and brand supremacy here, but I know for a fact that Walter was very unhappy that the way, or over the way he was eliminated in the Survivor Series. Everybody was. That was just ridiculous. Why even put him in the match if you're going to eliminate him in like 2 minutes? He's the NXT UK champion, undefeated. Nobody's been able to take him down. Why would you put him in there and put him in that situation? It's like, oh, nobody's going to realize that. Nobody's going to know. But I know. One person knows. That's all you need. I wasn't invested in that. I didn't care. I care about my guys, my group. I care about the sport, but I don't care about all those people being angry with each other. It was a weird match. 3 5-man tag teams. And always 3 guys in the ring. That's when wrestling turns from competition to putting acrobatics in a circus to do a show. There's 15 of you. You've got to do something. So that's what he said in regards to the Survivor Series. I don't know if that's him really speaking that he didn't like it, or him being upset with his role in the match, or it's just brand warfare. I'm NXT UK and fuck the main roster. Who gives a shit? All I know is that the guy was booked terribly at the Survivor Series, and it shouldn't even been a situation where he was even in the match. I could have picked anybody else but Walter, but they put Walter in there and they embarrassed him in 2 minutes. Finally, guys, NXT could have a new tag team. NXT could have a new tag team on the horizon. Mike Kanellis asked for his WWE release, but the company didn't give it to him. Now he's working in NXT. Mike Kanellis returned to action at an NXT event earlier in the week. PW Insider reports that they were trying Mike Kanellis out in a new tag team with Tony Nese. Tony Nese and Mike Kanellis were teaming on this weekend's NXT live events as a test run for a potential tag team that could be used regularly on WWE NXT TV. Melbourne, Florida was the tryout. They defeated Nick Ogerleri and Mohammed Abu? I don't know. Whoever. Mohammed. This did mark Kanellis' first match since publicly asking for his WWE release. I'm all about giving people an opportunity. If they thrive in that role and they look great and they fit the mold of a tag team, I love Tony Nese's work. I think he's fucking fantastic. And if Mike Kanellis could feed off that and find new rejuvenation and a new role on NXT, a place where he should have been right from the beginning, but he opted to go to the main roster. They opted to put him on the main roster without anybody knowing who he is. If this could be a rebirth of Mike Kanellis and get him back to fucking being in love with the way he works, I think it's a win-win situation. And to top it all off, NXT needs tag teams. So why not? Why not? They're going to need tag teams because Undisputed Era, in my eyes, their days are over in NXT, and this is the last year before you see them buried on the main roster. Guys, I'm getting out of here. Thank you so very much for lasting almost 2 hours with me, over 2 hours on this podcast. Again, thank you guys so much. Hit that thumbs up. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Turn on that bell for all notifications. And if you guys want to check out all the other content on the channel, make sure you do that down below in the description of this very video. I'll be back with all your Royal Rumble news and rumors tomorrow, man. It's going to be a big show. Don't go anywhere. I got Royal Rumble news and rumors, predictions, my thoughts on the Rumble match, and the matches that are going to be taking place on the undercard. Going to be another big show. And then we got Worlds Collide on Saturday night. I'll be covering that as well. I might go live for that. Who knows? I might go live for it on YouTube. We'll take some super chats and we'll have fun with that. And we'll talk Worlds Collide. And then the Royal Rumble on Sunday should be a big deal. Guys, thank you so very much. Again, subscribe down below for the #1 podcast in the pro wrestling community. This is Off the Script. I'll see you tonight for SmackDown and tomorrow for part 2 of episode 310 right here on OTS. See you guys then.